As a Sagittarius, I feel like it was written in the stars that I would yearn to move abroad and that I would think it would solve all my problems. I definitely romanticized the idea of moving abroad to Paris, and a couple years ago when I made the big move, I kind of just realized, oh, all my problems didn't go away. So there are these two sides of me, right? There was a side of me that was really excited to move abroad. I had studied abroad a couple times in the past, and I really enjoyed those experiences, and so I thought that moving abroad was going to be really similar to that. And I was just so excited. But there was this other part of me that I think started to take over that was a lot more about running away from my past and running away from like parts of me that I didn't like or parts of my life that I didn't like. And I thought that like moving abroad would just solve those problems for me. And to be honest, like moving abroad solved a couple problems in my life. You guys know I was in a long distance relationship, and so moving abroad solved that immediately. But for everything else, like, it made it a lot harder. I think that you hear stories about people who move abroad and they're like, I was depressed in my hometown and I moved abroad and I was depressed in a new town. The thing that I was struggling with personally was feeling creative, and I thought that going to Paris was going to immediately make me feel more creative. I thought that like being in a new place would give me the motivation to be creative, and that definitely wasn't the case. And I started to be really hard on myself for not being creative the second that I moved into Paris. But the other thing about moving abroad is that it gives you new things to be insecure about. I got really insecure about making friends when I was here because I learned that it was really different. And that's something that I've talked about before. And also about like, going into a new work culture that I didn't know that much about. And those were things that I didn't anticipate. And I think the first few months were really rough because of that, because not only had it magnified my old problems, but it kind of actually just gave me new, not problems, but like new things to work through. But to be honest, that kind of stuff takes time. And that was something that I had to learn, that like I needed to put in the work. I was still the same version of me, but just in a new geographical location. I needed to embrace the other part of me that was excited about this experience. And that's when I started to see the difference that moving abroad can make for you. Moving abroad definitely won't solve your problems, but I think that that's not why you should do it. Running away from your problems shouldn't be your main motivator to moving abroad. Or if it is, maybe just figure out if moving abroad is really the thing that's going to make your life better. Because I think that moving abroad can add on actually a lot more problems than you anticipate in the beginning, and maybe more problems than what you could be running away from. But if you embrace the part of you that is ready to have a new experience, that is ready to tackle new challenges and ready to tackle new problems, I do think that moving abroad is a great thing to do, and I absolutely do not regret moving abroad at all. And I think that it's one of the things that has expanded kind of like my worldview and expanded my friendships, and even my long distance friendships have gotten deeper since I've moved abroad. And I think that that's something that's really special. All that to say, I think that if you want to move abroad, you should do it. And I think that you should be open to new experiences. And just remember that like if you hate it, if you move abroad and you've been open and you still hate it, you can always move back to where you were at before. You might lose a few months to a year or something like that. But I think it's worth a shot if it's something that you're really interested in and if it's something that you're open to. So yeah, that's all I had to say today, but let me know if you have any questions about moving abroad. I have a couple other videos where I talk about the logistics of moving abroad and then my perception on the culture differences between here and France. But if there's any other questions that I missed out on or things that are related to challenges, let me know and I'll get to them. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Do I have anything else to say?
I don't know.
What's my conclusion? What's the conclusion?
It's not about solving. It's not about solving your problems. It's about. Je sais pas trop en fait. C'est quoi ta conclusion?
The second problem that it solved was my long distance relationship. That sounds really bad. I think that it also had a lot to do with the fact that like my prefrontal cortex clicked into place and was like, ding, now my brain's working.